Growing up, my favorite way to learn about paranormal stories was by my father reading to me or going and listening to people share their stories. So that later, when I became a teenager, one of my most hyper-focused things was researching areas' history and their haunted stories. And so then, when I had the opportunity to travel all over the United States, I made a point, if I could, to go join either like the standard tour or the haunted tour, or there was a few times I was able to join a paranormal group. My favorite thing afterwards, everybody would sit around and share their experiences, or memories would come up from times before, or maybe stories that were told to them from other people that had been in the area. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun, since I have been doing this off and on throughout my life, that I would create a little playlist and kind of share my stories. So I'm doing this in the vein of the way things were once upon a time, where it wasn't so much about proving it and documenting it. It's for the sheer joy of sharing the story. So as we are approaching the end of October and Samhain or Halloween or whatever word you want to call it, I thought this was the perfect time of the year to start this little playlist, and I would probably add to it throughout the year whenever I'm inspired to share one of my stories, but I thought that I would share at least a couple a week as we are leading up to the end of the month. So here we go. So let me set the scene. It is 1990. I am 13 years old, and because I have read a couple paranormal books, I think that I know everything there is to know about paranormal investigations. And so I and my friend have decided that we are going to spend the night before Halloween investigating a local cemetery. So this is in the area of Southern California, in the foothills of the San Dimas Canyon. At the time, this area still had a lot of farms, so we had like citrus farms and strawberry farms, and beyond that, beyond Foothill Boulevard, there was still the canyons that you can go and explore. And we used to run through this area, like looking for the lizards that we would hang off our finger, and we would look for like ponds to go swimming in and all kinds of things. So as we were exploring this area, we found a really old cemetery, the kind that actually had a brick wall surround that also had the cast iron like fence around it and a cast iron gate. It was like the perfect Halloween scene cemetery. It had all of the stone tombstones. Some of them are actually like granite stone or this like white, I'm not sure if it was granite or like some kind of a desert quartz, but all of the headstones were gorgeous. And they all had like tall grass, and it had that perfect scene. And so we decided the night before Halloween, we were going to get all of our ghost investigation tools and go to the cemetery. So we brought with us our candles, flashlights, a blanket, and we each had a Kodak Max disposable camera. And we had my boombox, which is that old sharp purple boombox that had like a shoulder strap. You could walk around with it. And I used to have the Memorex tapes, and I would try to record songs off the radio. So we go there. We have a blank new tape. I have my stereo. We have our candles. We have all the things that we're supposed to have. So we do the normal teenage thing, and we sit up with popcorn and Jolt soda, watching like Freddy Krueger on like Night on Elm Street, and I think we watched Jason. And then we go at like 11 o'clock, we decide to leave and walk to the cemetery so that we would arrive like at midnight, right? The witching hour. And so we get there, we set up our little camp in the middle of the cemetery. We have our flashlights, we get our candles going, and we start taking pictures of all around us so that we could get a baseline to understand what the place would look like. And then we sat down and we started our tape recording, and we started saying like, hello, is there anybody there and stuff. And nothing was really happening, like 30 minutes into it, whatever. It was probably like 10 minutes, but it felt like 30 minutes because I was a teenager. And we were starting to get bored, and so we decided to get up and start looking at all the different tombstones, looking at all the different names, and like trying to figure out if we could understand the family and different things. And all of a sudden this wind came in and started like howling through the trees. And of course, because it's autumn, you have leaves rustling and all of the different sounds that happen when it's windy, middle of the night. You're a teenager who did not watch scary movies to be scared. And we ran back to our blanket. The candles have all blown out. We're scurrying trying to find things. And for some reason, we are both now like peak scared and screaming and grabbing things. I grab my stereo, of course, and she's grabbing like the cameras and different things, and she bolts and starts running towards the gate. And all of a sudden I see her drop on the ground and she's screaming. And so I ran after her and trying to figure out what was happening. Of course, I'm thinking like something has now risen out of the grave and has grabbed her. And as I run to her, she's struggling and there's like leaves fluffing up all around her. and I get to her and I'm like trying to help her get free from whatever has risen from the grave and has grabbed her. And just as I'm doing this, I feel something on my ankle touch me. And so now I'm screaming, she's screaming. I do not really know how the hell we got out of there, but she was able to get on her feet. I got on my feet. We ran all the way home. We didn't stop to breathe or look behind us or anything. We just like ran all the way back to her house. And we locked all the doors. We closed all the curtains, and we literally went and hid like under the covers in her bed. And so we stayed up all night talking about what that could have been that attacked us. Obviously, we had done something that upset something. And so we ended up in the morning listening to the audio tape to see if we could hear anything. And of course, all you could hear is us laughing and static and wind. And we decided to drop off our disposable cameras at the local Thrifty White, where of course we went and got ice cream cones with the square ice cream scooper. And then we decided that we were going to walk back to the cemetery to retrieve the blanket, the candles, and the flashlight that did not make it home with us. And so once we arrived there, we left the gate open. It was kind of windy, and so it was moving a bit, which gave it just this creepy feeling. We walk in. We go directly to our little camp was where the blanket and everything is still there. And we gather up the stuff, we pull all four corners of the blanket together and just kind of hold it together in the center and loop it over our shoulder. And now we're just kind of walking around looking for where exactly we both got grabbed in the middle of the night. And as we're walking, I come to notice this tree with these roots that are they go up out of the ground and then back into the ground. And so there's hooks almost. And I'm laughing because I realize this must have been where she fell. She probably got her foot hooked in this branch sticking out of the ground, fell on the ground, and there's all these vines from ivy that are all over the place also. And so she and I were both attacked by a tree and the vines, probably because we were completely disrespecting this cemetery, being, know-it-all teenagers. So we're both laughing until we're crying, and we make our way out of there, close the gate, make sure it's secure, and we go back home with a story that will stay with us for the rest of our lives. And I do believe that my first time doing this was a perfect example of everything not to do. I have learned a lot since then. But I look back on that as one of my favorite stories of paranormal investigations of my life. Because I think that we all start off being just kind of goofy. And of course, as a teenager, I knew everything, right? Okay, so there is a fun story from my past with being a paranormal nerd. I, of course, went on more and more curious about the world of paranormal, whereas my friend lost interest in it as she got older. So, all right. So I guess word to the wise, if you're young and you're looking to do paranormal investigations, do not watch scary movies before you go out. Do not drink Jolt, which isn't a thing anymore, so you can't. And don't think you know it all. Other than that, stay curious.